Okay, Stephen Key here, and I've got a successful Inventors student that has licensed, I think, a couple ideas, and we'll get there in just a minute. But first of all, Chris, thank you for coming on our channel.
Stephen, thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on the show today.
Well, first of all, where do you live? Because I'm looking at this view, and it looks fantastic. So where do you live?
Thank you. Come join me. We recently moved. We're in downtown St. Petersburg, Florida, which, the nickname in St. Pete here is the Sunshine City. And we don't get too many cloudy days. It stays like this a lot. And, man, the weather's just gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
So we're thankful to be here.
Well, I'm very jealous. I live in Lake Tahoe, and I've got snow outside. So I'm looking at this going, what am I doing wrong here? So, oh, jeez.
I wanted to sneak a palm tree right in here.
You did, and it's making me jealous, and it's working. Okay, Chris, first of all, before we dive in on your journey of licensing your ideas, tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's start there.
Sure. So I am actually an orthodontist, and I have been an orthodontist for about 6 years now. And previous to that, I practiced general dentistry for 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. So you're always fixing things, huh? I mean, isn't that what you do? Kind of make things work. So has that helped you? I mean, you're an inventor too, right? I mean,
absolutely. Yeah. It's funny that definitely you see in the field of dentistry, and I don't know if this is where it came from, where back in the day, dentists were barbers and, whatever else they did. We're always looking for better ways of doing things. So you see that a lot with dentists and orthodontists that there's not always a planned way of doing things. So sometimes we have to go and come up with our own way of doing it.
Okay. So let's step back. You're doing your work. You probably notice there's a problem. So what invention have you come up with? If you can share that a little bit, and why you came up with it, and what problem did you see? Everybody's always asking, and thank you for sending over those great videos that we can show too, because everyone's always asking, well, what did he do? What did he license? So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as an orthodontist, I specialize in straightening teeth and correcting bites, and we do that by several means. The one everyone knows is, of course, braces, but more recently, we've been using clear plastic aligners. Okay. And the big one that everyone knows is the name Invisalign, right? You probably have seen that on TV. So in the last 10 years or so, orthodontists have been using the clear plastic aligners more and more to not only straighten teeth, but to correct bites as well.
All right.
So in order to correct bites, we often employ rubber bands or elastics to attach from the top jaw to the bottom jaw to help correct the bite relationship.
All right.
So the way this was being done with Invisalign was actually taking parts from traditional braces and adapting them to use with the Invisalign aligners.
Okay.
And we were running into a lot of problems in this fashion where things were breaking,
right.
Patients weren't comfortable, they were coming back as emergency appointments because the parts really just weren't intended to be used in the fashion that they were.
Okay.
So essentially what we did is with the Invisalign product is that there's a little semicircle cutout on the molar where you can attach something to wear the rubber bands. And traditionally, the parts were being put in that little window. And one day, the idea just came to me that, hey, it's a semicircle window. How come our part isn't shaped like a puzzle piece just to fit right in there? It seemed like a no-brainer to me.
Wow.
So at that point, Steve, I was working for a great gentleman. His name is Dr. Rich Kay out of Morristown, New Jersey. And I said, hey, Rich, we've been running into this problem, people coming back with broken parts.
Right.
Patients aren't happy with it. What if there were a button, as we call the little part that's attached? What if there were a button that were just shaped to perfectly fit within the cutout window that Invisalign provides us? And he said, you know what, Chris, that's a great idea. You should do something about it. So, weeks would go by at a time, and I was so busy working 5-6 days a week that I didn't really have a chance to explore it. And at that point, Rich turned to me and he said, it's a month had gone by. What are you going to do about this idea? And I said, Rich, you know what? Let's go in on this together because I think doing things with a partner is a lot of fun to work on a project. And from there, we ran into one simple idea, the famous book there on Amazon.
Thank
And it's
you.
all history, Stephen.
Well, you know what's amazing that you came up with such a simple solution, and you saw it, and once you saw it, and once you brought in a team member, I want to talk about the team member for just a minute because I think it's really important. Once you saw how simple that was it easy going forward? Was it easy to reach out to those companies? Was it easy? Of course, you read one simple idea. All right, thank you very much. And that gives you a roadmap. But was the process easy? Because sometimes some industries are hard to get into, hard to show your product. How about explain that process for our listeners? Was it easy or not?
There's parts of it that are conceptually easy, and then there's parts of it in all practicality that are maybe a challenge, or you might have to step outside of your comfort zone to do. Certainly I would say your first idea is a challenge, and I would tell other students, don't get discouraged by bumps in the road or roadblocks. You just really have to get past those.
Okay.
For example, when we were pitching our concepts, like anyone else, we got a lot of no's. And, we were approaching bigger companies that maybe just weren't the right fit for our product.
Okay.
It's very easy, I think, to get stars in your eyes and approach the biggest companies and think you're going to be a multimillionaire. But you really have to look at the product line, like you guys preach, see where the product line will fit, and find the right partner for you. Okay. It did take us about, I would say, 4 to 6 months to pitch the product before we found our right partner.
All right. You know what's interesting about that? I think you're right. We all have stars in our eyes. We're going to reach out to the biggest players, and that sometimes that doesn't work right. They're hard to work with, but some of the other guys that are a little bit more, a little bit smaller, still big, but a little bit smaller, that really need us, makes it a little easier to reach out to those guys, and they can see the benefit. So that was a smart move. Let's talk about teamwork for a minute, because a lot of us inventors, we think we have to do this by ourselves. What were the benefits of bringing in a partner to help?
Yeah. One more time, I just want to mention Dr. Richard Kay, who, I feel very grateful to. And I don't think this product would have come to market without his encouragement and his help along the way. But being able to work with a partner, there's pros and cons to it for sure. I think there's a lot of benefits. The major one is it's just fun to work with a partner. Doing things on your own sometimes can get a little dull, and to be able to bounce things off someone else, to get their feedback, I think is really important. And I think it's a really good thing to work with a partner. In terms of downsides or detriments, it can't all be your way. It's not your way or the highway, for sure. So you have to be willing to compromise on things. And then secondly, you might have to give up part of either the royalties or some of the equity of your product. You're sharing.
Fair enough. I've always had partner, by the way. People think I've done this by myself. No, I've always had partners. And I think you're right. You have to compromise a little bit, and you do share in the royalties. I had no problem doing that whatsoever. But it's fun to work with somebody else, isn't it? Because you kind of play off each other's energy and maybe,
absolutely,
overcome some obstacles. What did it feel like to see? What did it feel like when you went to a trade show and you saw your idea there?
Oh man, Stephen, that was so cool.
Because I saw that picture, and you guys are pretty excited. I mean, it gave me goosebumps watching it.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great feeling. I'd say throughout this journey, there's frustrating parts, and then there's parts that are just so cool. And to me, the coolest part for the trade show was having other doctors come up, and there were doctors from around the world there. So I think there was a doctor from New Zealand, and he was super excited about my product rather. So, just the idea of having someone use a product that you created in New Zealand or some other part of the world, I mean, that was super humbling and exciting to me at the same time.
Yeah, I remember one of my first ones that came to market and seeing people use it and experience it. There's nothing like it. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people very happy using your simple improvement, because it is very smart. I saw that, and I think people are going to, it's so,
thank you, Stephen.
It's so simple, but I'm surprised no one saw it. Why is that?
It's hard to say. I've always considered myself a creative person and someone that likes to try to think a little differently. And for me, it was obvious, but maybe not for other people.
Okay.
There was one doctor that approached me at the first conference, and he said, this is the dumbest, smartest idea I've ever seen because it's just so simple. But I'm a huge devotee to simplicity. I love Apple products and Steve Jobs, and to me, you have to fight through the complexity to get to the simple. And I think that's one of the things that I connected with your book. And one simple idea is, sometimes that's all it takes is simplicity.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Okay, so you've licensed a second. I mean, you've licensed two, right?
Two, yeah.
Okay,
yeah. So we actually, within the buttons, we're currently working on another product with our partners, Mid-Atlantic Orthodontics. I do want to mention them.
Okay.
And then we have a second whole product related to this, which I can't disclose yet, but that's going to be with a large dental supplier called Hugh Freedy Instruments.
Okay.
And we're super excited to be working with them.
Well, it sounds like you've got another career going here, don't you? I mean,
I guess it's a little side hustle, Stephen.
I love it. Is there any advice you could give someone starting out? Because I know a lot of people are watching this and they're going to be really excited to see what you've done. But what advice would you give someone that's watching this for the first time and is listening to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, the advice I'd give other inventors, Stephen, is really just don't give up. It's completely normal to face rejection, and it does get frustrating, but just don't take that personally. And, if you believe in your product, just keep getting it out there. And, you can take that to another extreme. If it's been multiple years of pitching and you're not getting anywhere, maybe it's time to jump ship. But, there's going to be some roadblocks that you're just going to have to get past and fight through.
Correct. So I guess the last question I have, this last deal, you didn't use us. You kind of flew the coop on us, didn't you? Because we do.
Sorry about that, Steve.
well, no, it's actually a good thing. And I want people to really hear this. We at Inventor, what we try to do is educate, and we really want our students to take control and learn how to do this themselves so they don't, you're in control of your own destiny. And you did that because you said, hey, I know how to do it. Thanks, guys. And you're off.
Yeah. I mean, your system works, the 10 principles. And once you get that, you can really replicate it. So Rich and myself, we did not only the Inventor program, but then we did the master's program as well. And, at no point along the way do we not feel like Terry Amara, our coach, I want to give him a quick shout out, wasn't there for us, or yourself, Andrew, David. You guys have a great team. And we always felt like if we ran into trouble, we could still reach out to you. But at the same time, things went so smoothly and we had much more confidence in how to approach things that, it just worked out great for us.
Yeah, we love it when people fly the coop on us, Chris. I think, it sounds crazy, but it when I saw that you had notified us, it made me feel very proud. And
thank you, Stephen.
No, you've done a great job, and thank you very much for coming on and sharing your story. Is there anything else you'd like to add to it? Anything else?
Just keep inventing, guys. Keep thinking of ideas and get them out there. And once you learn this process, really the world's your oyster in terms of creating things.
Perfect. Chris, thank you very much.
Thanks, Stephen. It was great being here.
Bye.
My pleasure.